just when you think you have everything completely done on a machine, something else decides to let loose. So this is my 2013 Centria 2, and I did a full refurbishment on it. Well, I didn't need to replace the front and rear bearings because it's just from 2013, so they're not that worn out yet. But I noticed that this started happening. If I tilt it on the other side, that's normal. That's what you should normally hear. And you got this nice little grinding, snoring sound. So let's actually take the rear pedal assembly apart. Let's examine this, and I've got 3 solutions for you that we can actually go over. So I have here, brand new in the package, a pedal for a G6. And without taking this off, let me see if I can get that to focus where I want it to be. Oh, it's not doing it. All right, switching to manual. Now, do you see right here where my fingernail is, the amount of that spline that is proud of or forward of the rest of this piece right here? See that amount in there? See what kind of height that is? So let's compare it to the one that's giving us some problems. There. So you see the difference? Look at that. There's hardly any distance in here, and there's a giant space right here. So this particular pedal assembly, honestly, really isn't broken per se. So what you really have is a situation where this needs to have some kind of a small repair. Now, you can see on YouTube where some people just take a little socket, they put it over it, and they smack this part down, and that comes, this piece here, this metal piece comes closer to this plastic piece, and now everything seems to be okay. The problem is the spline, the whole spline assembly right there is a pressure fit, and that pressure fit, frankly, slips. So Kirby at the factory didn't use any type of adhesive to make sure that this pressure fit wouldn't move. So depending on how rough you are on this exact piece, when you step on this pedal, this little metal bracket will basically always slip up. That's just what it's going to do at some period of time, over some period of time. So you can keep replacing the pedal assembly over and over and over again, and at some point in time, depending on how rough you are with this, it will slip. So I'm going to call this an assembly error, right? I really don't want to call it a design flaw because the design works, but when this is assembled, it really should have had some type of adhesive in here, or they could change the system altogether. And there's several ways to solve this. So one way to fix this is simply get a new pedal assembly, like what I have here. You can just keep replacing this and replacing it and replacing it. Drives me crazy because sooner or later, this is going to fail again. I mean, maybe it'll be years, maybe it'll be months, who knows. But there's a design problem with this, and it's when they did the assembly part of it. So it's like, they should put something in here. Now, you should know that all you have to have in order to make this thing stay put is a way to force this metal bracket down. And there's a couple ways to do this. So you can get a spring, or you could go and say some washers. I've got a spring right here just for demonstration purposes. And guess what? That spring will fit over, right, this piece right here, and then it will compress, and it will take up some space, and it will, when you put this back on, see what happens? Okay, let me turn it around, get a different view from the rear. If you have something that's aligned just right, guess what? That will force this piece down. And to that end, I used this solution for testing purposes on my G6 for not 1, not 2, but 3 years. So from probably middle of 2016, maybe fall of 2016, all the way through fall of 2019, I used a compression spring right here. Now, if you have washers that will somehow do that, or something else that will simulate that, that's fine. And you know what? It did a great job. 3 years I used that solution. But when I did the teardown of the G6, and you can watch the video of that, I said, you know what? Let me see if I can come up with some other type of solution. And, well, that's when I figured, why not use something that's supposed to, say, lock the threads? So, why don't we simply just use some adhesive? Use something that can lock the threads, specifically in here. Well, I know that's not really technically a thread, it's a spline, but it's a straight thread. Yeah, that's it. We'll call it straight threads. So I can go and pop this off, and I can go and put some of this adhesive on here and lock those threads. And I've done that with my G6. Well, it's probably been a couple months ago now, and it's holding in just fine so far. So the naysayers out there say, oh, that can't possibly work. Well, I used a spring. That worked for 3 years. Of course, that's kind of a physical solution, right? And this one is a chemical solution. And I will let you know when this fails, if it fails at all. But this is specifically designed to go and lock these two pieces together. So, I mean, hence the term, like Loctite. Anyway, let's go ahead and fix this. We're all done. Everything's all re-greased. Make sure I've got a good focus here for you. Here we go. We're in drive. That was the easy part. Here we go. So tilt it one way. Nice and clean. Tilt it the other way. Yep. We're in good shape. And note to self, the pedal's pretty tight now. Might have been a little too aggressive with how hard I put that pin back in there, but it's not too bad. All right, thanks for watching, and as always, have fun repairing your Kirby.